Namaste, beloveds. This is I Am That I Am. And this is a video on the R. Kelly Michael Jackson situation. And I'm just going to give it to you as it has come to me. And please understand that there is no judgment on my part. And I am trying to be as detached from this situation as I can. And again, making no judgments, only sharing what is coming forth for me. So let's begin with that. Seeing Michael Jackson with wisdom and discernment. I was troubled deeply in my spirit upon hearing the allegations against Michael Jackson raise their heads again. Immediately, I wanted to react and defend him with my righteous indignation. And let me say that's because I love him as a human being. I love his spirit. I love his energy. I love the lyrics of his music. I love the way he dances. I love the messages that he conveyed. And I identified with it extremely. So in saying that, that is where I've come from. And I have been one to share his music and share his videos and share what I believed his perspectives to be on so many things. On We Are the World, Heal the World, We Are Not Alone, so forth and so on. And once again, I am not making judgment. I am not saying who's telling the truth. I am not saying who is lying. I am not saying if there is a lie. This is not about that. This is a lot deeper than that. So this is from spirit. So let's get it. But I have maintained in my ability, my writing is atrocious. But I have matured in my ability to be led by spirit and taught to not weigh things against the human mind, but against the spirit that I am. So I waited until I was led to do so, which translates into thy will, not mine. MINDS, not mine's. First, I watched the first 3 episodes of the documentary, and by that point, I'd had enough. And the actors, participants, victims, alleged victims, so forth and so on, the messages that they conveyed, and the conviction that they portrayed. Their beliefs were very convincing. And I say that based upon being a sexual survivor myself. Even I began to doubt what I have always known in my heart. They were so accurate with the correct descriptions and reactions and body language and so forth. Listening to my feelings, listening to my reactions from my thoughts, looking at the portrayal of him, of Michael Jackson in the photographs, listening to them say they slept with this grown man in his bed at his request and their parents allowed it because he had become like a family member to them, that he was lonely, and very childlike, and very generous with his love and affection once he placed his trust in you. And I didn't write this, but they being the alleged victims, called this his way of grooming them, his way of preparing them. Wisdom has shown me many things in this lifetime. Again, let me state, I am not making judgments. I'm not saying who's right and who's wrong. That is not what this is about. Wisdom has shown me many things in this lifetime. One is that discernment is her firstborn daughter. We can look upon them as two separate essences of the Great Spirit. And these essences, once again, is wisdom and discernment. But they act as one. That one, thus you cannot experience wisdom without discernment. We are not here to judge what is the truth, but we are here to discern the truth. So let me break that down a little bit more before I continue with that. We are not here to judge what the truth is, what really happened, what our mind says happened and what our mind say didn't happen based upon our own instincts, based upon our own experiences, based upon our own whatever. That is not the role that we're here to do, unless, of course, we're in a judge judging the actual case itself. And that is our vow of legal duty. Other than that, we are not here to judge that situation with the minds that we have at this moment. Because the mind that we have at this moment is very immature, is very egocentric, believes that it is the master because it holds the identity of the self. So when you are using your discernment, you have to understand, are you looking at what you're looking at from the place of your ego, from the place of your mind, or from the God place within, from the heart of compassion, from an understanding of unconditional love? Are you weighing it with that? Are you detached enough from the situation to truly look at it, to observe it in a way that you can take in the truth that is uniquely yours, whether it agrees with anyone else or not? Let me continue. We are not here to judge what is the truth, but we are here to discern the truth, first within ourselves, as to our own true nature. And that's key. Before you can judge another, you have to be able to look within your own self and know what you yourself are capable of, what you yourself can be tempted to do, what thoughts pass in your own mind, what feelings you have about them, what wisdom you have about them. This is your unique identity, your true nature and your true values and virtues and so forth and so on. They come from within you. They are not coming from the mind that has been conditioned based upon its limited physical sensory experiences. But this is coming from a looking that is deeper than that, that is more ancient than that, that is more mature than that. That is not about judgment, but about understanding, about identifying, about observing, about taking note of. about using whatever situation is going on as a mirror, not as a comparison, but as a mirror. Meaning, I see me. Can I see me in you? How can I see me in you? Where can I see me in you? Why can I see me in you? When I see me in you? Meaning you and me are one. This is what going within and looking at yourself, knowing yourself before you judge another means. Doesn't mean you're better than them or you're superior to them or you're pure and innocent and they're the sinner. This is not about that. This is not about good or bad. This is about seeing yourself in another and understanding why whatever they did in their mind allowed them to do, for you to be able to identify that and empathize. Let me just keep going. We are not here to judge what is the truth, but we are here to discern the truth. First, within our own selves as to our own true nature. This is the only truth that we need to know. This is the only truth that matters. That you are able to know who you are. Not in your mind. Not who you have been conditioned to be. Not the name that you were given this lifetime. Not what you have experienced over many lifetimes. But who you are before form. The consciousness that created everything. That is you. That is the truth you need to know. That is the truth you need to get back to. That is the truth why everything that the brain is having us go through is happening, is manifesting. So that we can remember. So that we can be reintroduced to our true selves and understand that this is a lie. This is an illusion. We are better than this. That this is not our true state. This is only instinctual to get us back to where we need to be. We need the contrast. We need the so-called suffering. We need to know that we are all connected, that there is no separation. The only separation that is reflected as separation comes from the mind. And the mind wants to dominate the life. But life is eternal. And so life is just waiting on you to understand that you are life and you are not the mind. And for you to mature to a point where you're no longer manifesting all of this pain and strife and separation and jealousy and violence and hatred. We are all redeemable because we contain the original consciousness. That is unconditional love. But you have to find that within and you have to nurture it. Let me keep going. But we are here to discern the truth, first within ourselves as to our own true nature, and then to use that convex lens to discern ourselves in everything else that we come in contact with. This is what it means to weigh the spirit by the spirit. That portion that I am, that portion, that I am. Notice without judgment what the mind ego has had the soul magnify and worship. What it has caged and contained, and what it has tried to hide, to deny, to diminish, with the detachment of wisdom and discernment for truth and balance. Use your compassion, your empathy, to recognize where that soul is in its own journey to true self-realization. Notice exactly where, why, when, how is inside this now moment, and who, what, when, where you know your true self to be inside this new now moment. This is the man looking in the mirror and knowing, recognizing itself. I will tell you the story as it has been told and shown to me. I make no judgment between the two, because I have learned the forces of nature that we call good and evil are not two different natures or realities. They are one. Balance and harmony of that which is. Nature, we recognize it best in the yin and yang principles, which is also could be seen as the Holy Trinity. And then it jumps to this with discernment. Pay attention. Yin and yang are inside of a circle. A circle is always a womb or container. Some draw this symbol as a sevenfold path, but it is most simple. In its most simple, it is threefold symbol, which reverts, or is broken down to that one. That one. This is how the sevenfold path was shown to me this morning. 1, the Great Spirit, the greatest consciousness source, however you want to, the original self, however you choose to term that or word that or know that. 2, the lesser spirit, which is the ego, the mind, so forth and so on. 3, wisdom. And for here I have /Lilith, /Holy Spirit, /Grace. For 4 I have Adam, and for 5 I have Eve. Then I have the tree of good and bad, the tree of life. And then in parentheses I have the Egyptian breakdown. The Great Spirit equals Osiris. The tree of life is Isis. The lesser spirit ego or equals Set. And Nephthys equals Eve, who gave birth to Death, who is Anubis. Thus Isis gave birth to Horus, who is rebirth. Trees existed first. We are the fruits that are produced from the trees. Asleep, that means not fully awake and conscious as to the God principle within ourselves, that we are God, that we are one with God. We are one with God. A lot of people have a real problem, me, myself, and I, with reflecting and holding that space, that truth, that knowing at this early beginning time that it has been introduced. And that's just because we have to grasp that because of the conditioning. So many of us have a hard time saying, I am God. But we have no problem with saying, I am one with God. And if that is how you need to look at it, if that is how you need to word it, for you to start understanding yourself and looking at yourself in that manner, in a holy manner, then that is what you do. That is how you word it. I am one with God. That means I am no different. I am one with. Just like you are one with your parents. They gave you birth. You're one with both of them. They're two people, but you came out of both of them. And you're one with them. Same thing with Great Spirit. We are one with the Great Spirit because that is where we came from. We can't be separate. Just like you can't be separate from the mother that gave birth to you. No matter if you're adopted or whatever, that is still your mother, your biological mother, your creator or your maker, the one that carried you in the womb, the one whose DNA and essence and genetics you have. You are one with her. And that is why we were given the oldest virtue or law. Respect your elders. Respect your parents. Because you are one with them. When you don't respect them, you don't respect yourself. Let me keep going. Okay. And when you don't respect them, you don't respect the one that gave life. Trees existed first. We are the fruits that are produced from the trees asleep. We produce from the tree of knowledge and good and bad, which is limited to those two ways. That's an egoic way. Either it's good or it's bad. We're going to judge it good or we're going to judge it bad because we're still asleep. And this is the only fruit we know how to produce in our sleep. Is good or bad. Awoke. We produce life from the tree of life, which is infinite in expression and true to its nature of unconditional love, which means when you are woke, you can tap into the universe. You are not limited by the concepts of good and bad. That is because you see past that nature. You look into the very heart of everything that exists, and you tap into the wisdom of it. And from that wisdom, you are able to use the discernment from the wisdom to see, to know, to be when you are awake. When you are awake, there is no mind to cast doubts about, well, it's either left or right, it's up or down, it's boy or girl, it's in or out, it's no or yes, it's good or bad. Please do the contrast of these two trees. Please look at the states of consciousness. The asleep consciousness is very limited. Has all kind of borders and boundaries. And you just keep circling. and keep repeating, there's nothing new in it. When you are awoke, unlimited potential. There are no boundaries. Everything is life, meaning everything is infused with spirit, and you are aware of your connection to it. That is what that means. So let's continue. Let me pause for just a moment, beloveds. I stepped it at 25:55, beloveds. I don't know why I needed to say that, but it is what it is. Also, I just want to restate that the analogy or the need to keep comparing ourselves to trees to understand the spiritual message and the spiritual nature is really getting to the root of something and knowing how to uproot something and replant it and so forth and so on, and knowing how to nurture that tree and knowing the cycles and seasons of that tree. And I believe this is why Spirit keeps giving us the example of the tree of good and bad, and the tree of life, and to understand which that we are both of these trees. Both of these trees are our parents, and that we have to choose which kind of fruit we're going to produce. Let me just get there. Awoke, we produce life, which is infinite in expression and true to its nature, which is unconditional love. Right now, inside the multiverse known as entertainment, we have the opportunity to look at the man in the mirror, to turn into Alice and journey through the looking glass, or any other nursery rhyme or fairy tale or bedtime story. You want the truth of the reality that is present. You test the spirit by the spirit. You weigh them. You contrast. You discern, and wisdom reveals her truth, which is unconditional love, which means you allow wisdom to guide you to the truth, or to reveal what the truth is. You don't allow your mind to come up with the truth based upon your limited understanding of yourself, your sleeping disposition of yourself in the world, and the role that you play in it, the role that you allow the mind to dominate, to dictate, and to manifest. Okay, wisdom says, nah, that ain't it. That ain't it, boo. Nah, you're not going to get the truth from that. You're only going to get more illusions, more excuses, more delusions, more denials, more concepts, more journeys, more stories, more fairy tales of good and bad. Because that is what sleep is. It's a dream. But when you are woke, you tap into infinite wisdom. You are one with wisdom. You are one with everything that wisdom knows, everything that wisdom is. And the more you connect, the more you allow yourself to be filled, the more you allow to be filled with wisdom, the more you allow yourself to exist in that vastness, the more woke you become. Meaning, the less sleep you are, the less the mind can dictate to you, the less the mind can lie to you, because you got a lie detector built in now. Her name is Wisdom. And she gonna check every time the mind, blah, blah, blah. I am that I am. And I am not the mind, baby. So the mind gotta go, One of the ways that is helping me with this journey, with this expansion of knowing myself, is what was taught to me when I was little. And that was this prayer. Hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Hallowed be thy name. Whether you're a Christian or not, whether you understand that or not, whether you understand it as consciousness or a living energy or whatever you connect with that, that is what you invoke when that mind comes to start worrying you. When that mind comes to start, you don't know what you're doing. You crazy. Blah, 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 blah. Look what's happening. You got to pay this bill and you got to do, you ain't got time for that, girl. You better get. Hallowed be thy name. I am that I am. May your kingdom come. May your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And that's where you stand on that. Ain't no mind in that. There's only I am. Peace and unconditional love in that. Ain't no arguing with that. This is your foundation. This is where you stand. This is how you learn to deal with that mind. When whatever scary, whatever worry, whatever, you put it there. And even if you have not identified your connection, you can still say that. Even if you don't identify it as being God, but universal principles or universal consciousness or intelligent energy, thine kingdom come. Not this, what our minds have created, this limited mess that we needed in order to grow up, to wake up. Wake up. Enough. Enough. Thine kingdom. Thine is the glory. Thine is the power. Thy will, not mine. Not my mind. It ain't got the intelligence to hold a candle to that I am. And you keep feeding yourself this. You keep clothing yourself this. You keep comforting yourself with this. And when that mind comes, you confront it with that truth. There's nothing new under the sun. And I'm not telling you nothing that hasn't been said before, that hasn't been done before. that hasn't been achieved before. And baby, if it could be achieved then, it can be achieved now. Let me keep going. Right now, inside the multiverse known as entertainment, we have the opportunity to look at the man in the mirror, to turn into Alice and go and journey through the looking glass, or any other nursery rhyme or fairy tale or bedtime story. You want the truth of your reality, of realities that are present, the reality that is present. You test the spirit by the spirit, my writing beloveds. Bear with me. You discern, and wisdom reveals her truth, which is her unconditional love. Okay, let's get down to the nitty-gritty, shall we? And again, I just want to state, there is no judgment in this for me. I am not sitting myself with a hammer and gavel and a robe saying you're right and you're wrong and you did this and you did not do that and blah, 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 blah. That ain't about this. That ain't about this. That is not about looking at it like that. This is from a detached place, looking at it. First, no. The entire universe is present in this now moment. Both what we call angels and demons are present, as well as the past and the future, to bear witness to those current / now moment events. This is a turning point for us. All are present, all are witnessing, all, because this is sacred. We are back inside the garden of I am that I am, which is existence itself. The two trees are also the two trees, also two stars, and these two stars that I'm speaking of are R. Kelly and Michael Jackson. A greater and a lesser light, if you're going to look at them that way. Sun and moon, male and female, however you're going to look at this portrayal. Okay? You can put whatever names you want there. It doesn't even have to be Michael Jackson and R. Kelly, but that is what we have manifested in this moment, this dichotomy to look at and to examine. It is symbolic. I want you to understand this is symbolic. These are sacred times. Understand what you're seeing. Understand what you are being asked to bear witness to. It is to your own awakening, to your own beginning of evolution, your own rebirth as spiritual beings inside of flesh. Let me keep going. The two trees are also two stars, a greater and a lesser light, consciousness, awareness, nature, mind, egoic present. And this is just how it came. Again, there's no judgment. There's only observation. This is my observation. This is how I saw what was presented to me and how I interpreted what was presented to me. R. Kelly is the tree of knowledge of good and bad. Michael Jackson is the tree of life. How did I reach this conclusion, you ask? Again, I was not shown Michael Jackson or R. Kelly. I was shown trees. By the wisdom of discernment, I answer. By the Spirit, you will know them. By the fruit they produce. Let us look with detachment, clothed with the eyes of discernment, and for some reason the peacock emerged, at these two trees and the fruit born of each, born of and from each. And let me say this, beloveds, okay? Again, this is about the two trees. And I don't want you to think that, again, this is not about judgment based upon the mind, based upon what something looks like. This is not about that. The tree of good and bad fruit can be prettier than the tree of life can. It could be golden and sparkling with diamonds fruit, so juicy and just, It's not about what it looks like, because looks can be misleading. It is about the spirit of. And again, I am not the final judge in this. I am not judging. I am just showing you what I observed from my own viewpoint. And there are so many ways. Each one of us is going to look at this based upon our own experience, based upon our own hearts, based upon our own level of compassion and empathy and perception and depth and discernment. And if there's 7 billion people, there are going to be 7 billion different ways, variations of, varieties of, levels and depths and dimensions of. So again, this is not about judgment. This is just showing you what I saw and understanding, putting together the wisdom and discernment from what I saw. Okay. Let us look with detachment, clothed with the eyes of discernment, at these two trees and the first and the fruit born of and from each. Remember, this is the tree of good and bad and the tree of life. R. Kelly is the tree of good and bad, and Michael Jackson is the tree of life. One is extremely selfish. It cares only for its own pleasures and self-righteous judgments, which vindicate it in all it does, says, thinks, and feels. One is extremely impatient. One is extremely empathetic and cares for all as it cares for itself. It bears witness to this by all it does, says, thinks, and feels. This is discerned in the music, the dance, the lyrics, the theater of their lives. One keeps an entourage to cater. And again, I'm not telling you which one is what and what is what. I'm just saying one does this and one does that. One keeps an entourage to cater and ponder and pander and reassure it with the ones it allows to eat unconditionally at invitation, as it protects and gives shade from too much self-inquiry, the need to examine, look within your own existence by being aware to the fruits you yourself as a tree bears. One is alone, fenced off, but yet surrounded by all kind of other trees. its fruit mostly falls outside the fence, where its entourage can be fed and content. It gives protection and shade and encourages self-inquiry / the need to look within your own existence. By being aware to the fact that you too are a tree that bears fruit for others to nourish and reflect upon. Consider the trees and write your own story. Compose your universe, your truth, your one verse. One more thing I am to share. Look at the environment that R. Kelly and Michael Jackson developed, their understanding of themselves / their character, and I can't make that word out. Their character and something. Look at the family dynamics when they were poor. Look at the parents. Look at the fruits of the siblings with detached discernment. Understand the need, closeness for love from a place of empathy, from a place of sympathy, from a place of compassion and not judgment. This is not about judging. Understand the need to hurt others as you were hurt. Understand the need to react to a time of innocence. I'm sorry. Let me read that over because I messed that up. Understand the need to hurt others as you were hurt. Understand the need to retreat back into a past time of innocence. One is alleged to dominate and subjugate young girls. One is alleged to befriend and play with young boys. When you are poor and you have a big family and even extended family and or friends living with you, all the children are congregated together. Sometimes, but not always. Let me pause, beloveds. Okay, back. Sorry about that. I'm just gonna start over at that point. When you are poor and you have a big family and even extended family and or friends living with you, all the children are congregated together. Sometimes, but not always. They may be divided by gender and age, meaning that the boys all sleep with boys, girls all sleep with girls, no matter what age they are. The older ones and the young ones all sleep together in the same room or in the same bed or in bunks or however they're going to do it in one small confined place. Okay? My point is the child adapts to this communal way of living. Of many, this is what they base their instincts on. This is what they know to base how things feel to them. This is their world. This is their womb. This is their understanding of how the world works. This is how they understand their place inside the world. This is where their feelings and thoughts and mind is conditioned. This is where their self-identity is formed in order to survive. So please understand, this is not about judgment. My point is, the child adapts to this communal living of many brothers or sisters or cousins, all sleeping close for warmth and comfort of another soul. Okay? Or you have that one that kicks you out the way or steals the cover from you or don't want to be close to you or they don't like you or blah, 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 blah. You get the picture. Sometimes this remains innocent, childlike. Other times it becomes like the adults that are witnessed also in the communal living setting. It becomes sexual because the ego or just curiosity of another. So understand it's not good or bad. Okay? This is what is seen. This is just what is going on. We're not putting good or bad on it. We're not putting incest on it. We're not putting any kind of labels on it, any kind of judgment on it. We're just observing it without labeling it, just seeing what is what. Okay? Just you identifying with it. What do you see? I see this big, huge family like the Waltons all living together. They're poorer than the Waltons. They're all sleeping in a one bedroom or one room house in the corner. All the boys sleeping in that corner, all the girls sleeping in that corner. The parents way back there. The grown-ups back there. Don't just have to be parents, because if you got older adults too, they're there too. And they have their little section. And everybody is doing what they're doing. And this is natural. This is life. Sometimes this remains innocent, childlike. Other times it becomes like the adults. It becomes sexual because of the ego or just curiosity of another, or just needing the comfort of another and seeing okay, I witnessed that. That looks comforting. That looked pretty good. Let me see. No judgment. This is not about judgment. It's not about right or wrong. You look back upon these things, for they are what seeds that have been planted there. They are also the two wolves of the Cherokee grandfather's story. And if you don't know that story, beloveds, it very basically, very simply goes, the grandfather wanted to take his grandson, and teach him a few things. And so he said, come on, let's go camping. Or let's go in the woods. Let's go for a walk in the woods. And the grandson went with his grandfather. And the grandfather told the grandson, inside of you, there are two wolves. One is good and nice and patient and kind and loving. The other is mean and hungry and vicious and egoic. All it does is think about itself. And they fight each other all the time. And the grandson looked at the grandfather and said, Grandfather, who wins? Which wolf wins? And the grandfather told the grandson, the one that you feed. The one that you nourish. The one that you give the most attention to. The one that you encourage. The one that you support. The one that you most identify yourself with. In the moment. The type of fruit you produce all depends on the type of energy you feed and water your garden, your trees, your flowers, your fruit trees, your wolves with. And that was all that I wrote. And beloveds, like I said, this was what came to me. And I guess I did assign names to the trees, being that I said R. Kelly was the tree of good and bad, and that Michael Jackson was the tree of life. But they are interchangeable. They're interchangeable, okay? But it comes down to this. The bottom line is, what kind of fruit does the tree produce? And I am going to just do 3 different cards. I pulled them already and I did all of that. So I'm just going to get into it. The Archangel Raphael Healing Deck, I pulled God's Good Night Sleep. Dear Archangel Raphael, thank you for helping me relax and sleep deeply, for I know that you are guiding, healing, and protecting me while I rest. And let me show you the card. And I want to say, even while we are sleeping, beloveds, that peace is within us. We just have to reach it. And within that peace, there's a deeper kind of protection. But even outside, while you're asleep, please do not think that you're alone. There are all kinds of angels and beings, spiritual beings, helping you, moving things for you. Even things that you might look at as calamity or, oh my God, woe be unto me. On the other side of that is your awakening. On the other side of that is a stepping stone to help you transcend, to know just how powerful you are when you believe, when you know, because this goes past belief. You have to know. Okay. Good night sleep. Page 50, which is 5. Okay. Good night sleep. This card indicates that the quality of your sleep is connected to a health concern. Perhaps your mind is busy with worry, or your body feels tense due to an excess of stress or caffeine. Regardless of the cause, Archangel Raphael wants you to enjoy a good night's sleep. When you wish to fall asleep, think about Raphael and imagine talking to him about your concerns. Tell him all of your thoughts, fears, or wishes. When you feel complete, ask the Archangel to allow your mind and body to rest peacefully. Raphael will then cover you with his emerald green energy blanket, which will nourish you as you sleep. He'll watch over you, making sure that you're safe and protected. Possible specific meanings: go on a retreat to revive your body and spirit. Let go of control issues and go with the flow to release tension. Know that you are safe. Invest in a comfortable bed and an allergen-free bedding so that you can sleep better. Adjust your schedule in order to have at least 8 hours sleep each night. My prayer: Dear Archangel Raphael, thank you for helping me relax and sleep deeply, for I know that you are guiding, healing, and protecting me while I rest. And beloveds, I want you to know that sleep, this kind of sleep, when your body goes to sleep, is also a state of consciousness. Okay? And this is the natural state of consciousness. It's an unlimited state of consciousness. There's no mind there to kind of dictate things unless you bring the mind into that consciousness. So let your body rest. Let your mind rest. Call in the angels to help you. Do what you need to do. Get you some lavender oil or whatever else that relaxes you. Light some candles. Play some music with no words. learn to relax. Not just your body, but this mind. This mind. Okay. The next deck that I chose was the animal deck. And we pulled the manatee and the dugong, Dugong, which is manatee. Accept the situation as it is rather than fighting to change it. I don't know if you can see the manatee or not. Let me see. Here we go. A little bit. Okay. Manatee. Page 70, which is a 7. Okay. Manatee dugong. Accept the situation as it is rather than fighting to change it. There are times to fight for what you believe in and times to lay down your sword and surrender. If you or your family were in imminent danger, it would be quite natural to defend yourself by either fleeing or fighting, whether through action or words. Extreme situations may even require extreme measures. There are definitely wrongs to make right in situations where the spiritual warrior in you must take the lead. However, it's not the case here. What will work best for all concerned is for you to surrender and accept things as they are. Yield in order to overcome. Lay down your sword, not in defeat or in self-sacrifice, but from a realization that this isn't the fight you want or need to engage in. As the saying goes, choose your battles. This is definitely not one to waste your time and energy on. Saying the serenity prayer aloud. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Let go of your righteousness and your ego's need for control and find that peace of mind that you so cherish and have available simply by choosing it. Right on point. Associations, gentleness, loving, childlike, friendliness, exploration, inquisitiveness, playfulness, nonviolence, calmness, fearlessness, innocence, acceptance, surrender. And so what I'm being told to share right now is that, beloveds, instead of judging this situation with R. Kelly and Michael Jackson, put yourself in their positions. See where you can identify yourself. See where you can have compassion. See where you can empathize. See where you can forgive or allow. See yourself. Put yourself in their position as much as you can, because they are your reflections. They are our reflections. And both of them happening at this time, the way it's happening, is not coincidence or synchronicity. It is a message. It is symbolic of the times that we are living in and the changes that need to happen, and the root of those changes are the children. And what happens to the children? What conditions the children? What we teach the children for the next 7 generations. Understand what you're seeing. It's not entertainment. It's education. Okay. One more card. This card came from what's her name? Esther Hicks, Out of the Vortex. And this card is number 39, which is a 12, which is a 3. Okay, it says, I can get from an unwanted to a wanted relationship. And before you go thinking about this is about you and somebody else, this is you and you. This is your mind and your inner self, okay? Your God self. Focus on that first. As you walk away, your divine masculine and your divine feminine within. As you walk away from one unpleasant situation, the law of attraction will bring another that feels very much like it, and usually quickly. You just cannot get there from there. You cannot get there from there. To get to where you want to be, to that place of feeling better, you have to reach for alignment between you and you. Getting yourself feeling good before you take action is always the best process. For when you do not feel good, you cannot be inspired to any action that will solve the problem. And beloveds, the gym again is coming up. How do you make yourself feel good? No matter what is happening, thy will, not mine. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Hallowed be thy name. And then realize you and that are one. You and that are one. And the only division there is your mind. And you give your mind more power, more attention, more focus, more credibility. Your mind is your master. It has mastered you when you are the one who can bring about thine kingdom. When you are that I am. You must transcend your mind. You must master your mind. Not someone else's by judging where they are in their journey or their process. No. That's what the saying, before you try to take the straw out of somebody else, I take the rod out of your own. People that live in glass houses shouldn't be throwing stones. Getting yourself feeling good, getting yourself woke before you take action is always the best process. For when you do not feel good, you cannot be inspired. Do you see why the mind does what it does? When you do not feel good, when you are thinking negative thoughts and feeling bad about yourself, you cannot be inspired. You cannot reach that spirit within because your mind has you feeling separate, has you feeling the opposite, has you feeling not detached. You caught up in all this, getting deeper and deeper, sinking deeper and deeper into depressing yourself, repressing yourself, deeper and deeper and deeper. And in that state, there is no inspiration. Hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And you know, by being in that place, instantly removes, erases, reverses whatever that mind is trying to pitch. You don't have to hit that ball. You don't have to swing at it. Batter, 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 batter. Nah, this ain't baseball, baby. I am that. I am. I'm the stadium. I'm where the stadium is built. I'm the bat. I'm the ball. I'm the catcher. I'm the pitcher. I'm the first baseman. I am all that. And you ain't gonna regulate me to a player. Know thyself. Okay. Sorry. Woo, that came up, boy. Okay. Detaching. Getting yourself feeling good before you take action is always the best process, for when you do not feel good, you cannot be inspired to any action that will solve the problem. So you cannot be so attached to the mind. You have to detach yourself and observe it from a detached place, from a place that does not put judgment on it, but looks at it to understand it, how to resolve it. This, again, is that card. And the last card that we have is from, I'm sorry, hold on. There you go. It's from the Medicine Woman Inner Guidebook. And this is a card when I was doing a general, just an understanding for the documentary and the Oprah thing. I looked at the documentary first several days ago, and then I wrote what I wrote today. And I looked at about maybe 20 minutes of the Oprah documentary, and then I just stopped and began this. So this is the card that came up for that. And it's number 12. It's called Vision. And I left the card over there, so time is running out, so I'm just going to read it. I can show you. Let's see. I guess I can't. There we go. And the reflection is in the water. Okay? That's the picture. All right, let's read it. Number and meaning, 12. 12 means complete immersion. Traditional name of this card in the tarot deck is the Hanged Man. Medicine Woman energy of this card, the vision quest fulfilled. Affirmation, I surrender to the greater good. The Great Spirit and I are one. The beauty I see, I will bring through me. The card speaks, receiving the vision of that which is to be my purpose and my work on the earth. I am able to surrender to the greater good. I give up my life of thinking that I am a separate ego that must maintain myself at the expense of others. I am within others. Others are within me. That's why what prompted me, like I said, after I wrote this, I had wrote R. Kelly was this tree and Michael Jackson was that tree. But after I wrote that and after I pulled this card, I realized Spirit is telling me, give up. Wait a minute, Spirit is telling me, receiving the vision of that which to be my purpose and my work on the earth. I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to compare this and compare that and look at it with my judgment from my mind. I'm woke now. I am more woke and still waking up and getting deeper and deeper and deeper I'm expanding my understanding, my knowing, my vision, my intuition. And while I'm doing all of this, I am able to surrender to the greater good. I give up my life of thinking that I am a separate ego. I'm different. I'm weird. I'm this. I'm that. I have to suffer. I'm cursed. Blah, blah, blah. I'm a woman. I'm black. I'm this. I'm that. Nobody likes me. I'm a bad mommy. I surrender all of that to the greater good. That's mind. This is the universe. And vaster than that, even that. Let me keep going. I give up my life of thinking that I am a separate ego that must maintain myself at the expense of others. Meaning that I have to judge you in order to know what I'm doing. I am within others. So when I judge you, I'm judging myself because I am within you. We are not separate. We are all one. Waking to this reality. I am within others. Others are within me. I no longer care so much whether I am understood by others, but whether I understand them. My ego needs align with the great plan. My wants are in harmony with the human longing for perfection. Creating my own small spot of paradise on earth adds to the great creation. There is no longer a conflict. I serve myself and others at the same time. My face is without pain. Though others would have thought that to sacrifice the ego, consciousness of separateness, would be to suffer. Instead, my aura glows. There is no strain in this reversal of thinking. I hang from the tree of life still growing. The horizontal plane of the cross symbolizes my work on the earth. The vertical plane is my alignment with God. I now look at life from a different perspective than ever before. Truth. 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 Woo. I am able to see things from another's point of view. I am able to look with the eyes of God. My individuality is simply a tool, a point of focus for the universal will to good. Life as I once knew it has been turned upside down. Then the good of the whole is my highest goal. The good of the whole is my highest goal. The good of the whole is my highest goal because I'm no longer separate. I no longer look at another being and say, I'm separate from you. I'm different from you. You're different from me. You look like this or I look like that compared. No, we're God. We're one. We're one. There's no difference in me that is different than you. The mind can look and see anything it wants to, but spiritually, in the unseen, no difference. And that is how we need to look at each other. Just think of the things we can manifest from that place of looking, from that awoke state of looking, from that conscious state. Woo! Okay, let me calm myself down. My individuality is simply a tool, a point of focus for the universal will to good. Life as I once knew it has been turned upside down. The good of the whole is my highest goal. I have looked deep within the waters of consciousness and have been transformed. Self-questioning, self-inquiry. As I look at the day just past, did I consider the good of my whole self? Meaning my God self. Not just my mind's imaginary image of me. Did I consider the good of my whole self in my decisions, the good of my whole environment, the good of the whole group, the good of my whole community, or only the good of one small aspect of myself? Exercise. Sit across from a partner, someone you would like to be close to. Relax and look deeply, and you can hold the mirror if you want to. Relax and look deeply into the other's eyes while the eyes remain still, neither blinking nor moving from side to side. In a few moments, close them. Then imagine yourself going inside the other person's body. Become the person. Look out the other person's eyes, seeing yourself. Now think of yourself as that partner you are within right now. How does she or he see you? How does she or he see the world? What does it feel like to be in that body? What does she or he need from you? What are her or his hopes or fears? Now come back into your own body, still with eyes closed. Allow the deeper essence of that person to flow towards you by making a connection of light with your heart, throat, and third eye to a point between the two of you. Just be there receiving. Begin to open to the goodness. When it feels right, draw all your energies back into yourself. Feel for your own goodness. Follow the flow. Now, again, you know what we're talking about. Apply this to if R. Kelly and Michael Jackson could look into each other's eyes and do this exercise. Or if you and R. Kelly could do this exercise, or you and Michael Jackson could do this exercise, or you and his family could do this exercise, or you and the world could do this exercise. You and your child, you and your mate, you and your boss, you and your best friend, you and your worst enemy that's in your mind, you and everything that's separate. Go to your highest meditation. Go to your highest space of meditation from this peak. Look down upon the world. What do you see needing to be done? This is your work. Visualization. See yourself as a channel of heavenly gifts. For a time, you hold the gifts, adding your individual energy to them. Then, one by one, you pass them on to others. See the effects of your giving to others. Astrological sign, Neptune. Surrender. To become the vision received from the greater being, you must surrender to your greater self. You must take the leap of faith, letting go of things of which you have formerly depended upon. This may include an old self-image, self-doubt, or embarrassment at who you really are. You must dive into the unknown. The person who goes into the wilderness on vision quest leaves behind the comforts of her or his former home. He often refrains from eating or sleeping and sees no other humans or things of humans. He is left to view that which comes from within. This inner space reveals itself in outer reality. The inner being becomes the world. Often, at first, a level of fears is manifest. The ego, which I like to call the personality self, lets you know just what would devour it. It is up to you to let it be devoured. In the process, you will come to realize that it is you, the greater self, who devours it. The vision hangman card is different from the seed or fool in that the fool steps blindly forward on a hunch or a feeling, often not realizing where he or she is leaving behind, whereas the hangman questing for vision purposely lets go of the known for what she or he sees ahead as her destiny. The fool might ask you every day to step forward, take a risk, plant a seed. The vision card is just to remind you of the one turnabout that must occur. Your life, at some point, must be given to the ultimate being consciousness, bliss, that resides beyond the mind and its busyness. Your daily actions may continue, but the quest is no longer for direct results from those actions. You are simply allowing a greater force to work through you, as it surely will when you have surrendered. It is a force that was always within you but hidden by the personality's goals. The personality remains, but it is now doing God's work rather than its own. Vision asks you not to give up you, but to become more than you. The one self that animates all life. You can seek vision and prepare for vision, but you cannot force it to come. It is a gift. When you receive it, it will turn your life upside down, as if diving from a cliff for the first time. You cannot know what complete immersion is like until you are fully in the water. Only then can you swim. Only then can you act in accordance with the new element that surrounds you. Awaken consciousness. Surrender is not death, but action within a new environment of higher consciousness. It is not giving up the personality of self to another human's will. This is a very important distinction. The meaning of the vision card is an inner experience of God as complete motivation of the self. It is not a surrender to any other human being. The personality will still function quite strongly, able to stand up for itself in the world, perhaps even more than ever before. The vision is the prime mover, an energy source that will prompt all future actions and guide your way for the rest of your life. The vision card will come up again and again, only for you to further fine-tune your carrying out of the original vision given to you by the Great Spirit. It will not change your basic vision. This card focuses your life within God's perfect plan. Pay attention to what you know you are on earth to do. And beloveds, that is just so powerful. And that just takes me once again to these little sayings that I got on my wall. Let me read them right quick. Knowledge is like a garden. If it is not cultivated, it cannot be harvested. The 9 virtues. 1, I must control my thoughts. 2, I must control my actions. 3, I must have and show devotion to purpose. 4, I must have faith in the ability of the teacher to teach me the truth. 4, that means you have to be vigilant, beloveds. You have to be aware of what is being shown to you in everything that you see. You have to be, this is your purpose. You're devoted to your purpose. Something is going to show me something. Something is going to teach me something. See what is going on and find the teaching within it that is for you. 4, I must have faith in the ability of the teacher to teach me the truth. 5, so if it's a leaf, it's going to teach you. 5, I must have faith in my ability to assimilate the truth. 6, I must have faith in my ability to wield the truth. 7, I must be free from resentment under the experience of persecution. So somebody can say, you a bald face, like, girl, you don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, okay, whatever. You detached. You're not listening to them. You're doing you. You're nourishing you. You're not here to nourish them. They got to do that themselves, whichever way they need to. 8, I must be free from resentment under the experience of wrongdoing. Just like I was saying, this whole R. Kelly thing, oh baby, I would have been loaded for bear, ready to go. Okay? But that is no longer my reaction because I'm understanding. I am detached. There is no resentment because I'm understanding now why things are taking place the way they are and what our response needs to be and why our response needs to be that way and why it's happening. I must cultivate the ability to distinguish right from wrong, that which is loved from that which is hated. The 7 keys of ascension: accept your divinity. Do not believe in loss or gain. You will, not my will, but thine. Forgive all betrayals. View the ego impersonally. Have faith in the support of the invisible realms. Accept your death. And beloveds, accepting your death simply means that you are no longer sleeping, and you know that. You woke. Death is being sleep. Is being trapped in that mind. But when you woke, you are reborn. You're reborn from that state of sleeping, from that state of death. And what you're reborn with, as knowing, being, is yet to be perceived, is yet to be manifested from. This is your purpose. This is for the next 7 generations forward. This is the new age. This is the shift of consciousness from being asleep to being awoke, from being separate from the spirit to knowing that you are one with the spirit. Thine will, thy kingdom come. The original garden paradise state before the tree of good and bad put us to sleep. So, beloveds, I hope you enjoy this video. I hope you see it for what it was intended as. And I hope you allow it to inspire you to wake up more, to look more within yourself, to look more for yourself and others in understanding and understanding the consciousness of this world. There are many different perspectives, but there's only one consciousness, one true consciousness. There are many minds. Many minds have manifested many things. But the bottom line, from the one, those many came. And from the many, those must return back to that one. Namaste, beloveds. Okay, let me see.